Hello, everyone, and welcome to Voices and Visions, an interview series where we explore the creative minds behind storytelling in all its forms, from voice acting and music to writing and collaborative world building. I'm your host, JL Grace, and today I'm joined by another very special guest. Would you mind introducing yourself and what you are known for?
Hi, my name is Hannah Chapin. I am a voice actor. I do a lot of work with content creators, for example, Lythero, Salty DK Dan, Don Schnack, and a handful of others. But I also work on it's a word, different series such as Monkey Wrench, Heretical Tavern. I worked on games like Yuri Love Dungeon, and yeah, that's about it, really. There's
That
more, but I don't have names for everything.
Yeah, no worries. And I'm assuming there's like some other projects you probably can't talk about because of like NDA and all that.
Yep.
Yep. So that's the nature of the beast. And also, if you haven't seen Hannah, she was also part of the brief D&D campaign Wild Trace, hosted by the late Dungeon Master Bemi. Um, Rest in peace. We miss him so much. Uh, but Hannah, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk to me today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so to start us off, what first drew you towards voice acting and performance?
So I started to get interested in voice acting around the late 2010s. I'd say maybe 2015, 2016-ish. Also, apologies if you can hear my dog in the background. He's losing his mind.
That's okay. I have dogs and cats too.
Um, but I first started in 2018. I had done a couple, like I participated in a few voice acting panels at conventions, like held by voice actors. And late 2018 is when we got my first mic, and I just kind of kicked off into it. I thought it looked fun. I said, you know what, I'll give it a shot, see if I like it, and here we are 8 years later.
So, was there a particular moment where you realized this was something you wanted to pursue seriously?
Entirely honest, I'm not sure if there was a particular like click moment. I don't remember it. I'm assuming it happened at some point, probably around maybe 2020, early 2020s. That would be my estimate, but I don't think I have a specific moment, at least in my memory.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Let's talk about some of your early influences. Were there any voice actors, characters, or performances, or even media that inspired you early on?
Oh, absolutely. So, a lot of people who I was a fan of and now am actually friends with some of them. There's Michelle Knotts. She is the current voice of Jessie in the Pokemon anime, even though Jessie's not around anymore, but she's still doing work on the Pokemon anime and Horizons. Damon Mills, another friend of mine. James Carter Cathcart, rest in peace to him as well. He passed away just last year.
Mm-hmm.
Alejandro Saab, Hayden Davio, whole bunch of people. They have been a huge inspiration to me and have also been some of my like closest supporters, which I hugely appreciate. I grew up like I started watching anime around 2013. That's when I really got into it. And even though I've kind of fallen out of anime a little bit, that was a huge inspiration for me as well. D&D doing that has also been a huge inspiration because you get to improv and that helps teach you improv skills, works on different like portions of acting, interacting with other people, keeping up like I can't even remember words. God, I don't like words. They escape me and then I remember them, I forget them, whatever. Um, but yeah, there's just a lot of fast D&D, anime, other people, everything around me has kind of been an influence.
Awesome. So, what was one of the first roles or opportunities that made you feel like you had really stepped into the voice acting world?
So back in 2019, there was this YouTube channel called, I think, like Voxridian or like Vox Dubs. I think that's the name. Uh, they did a lot of Fire Emblem comic dubs of like the day in the life of the heroes, like from the official Fire Emblem Heroes comics. They dubbed pretty much all those coming out, and I was part of their team for a while. I think my first work with them, I think it might have been a character named Faye. I can't remember. I think it was. I know I've done Faye. I think her name's Mia, Little Young Azura, and probably some others. I just can't remember the name of. But that was when I was doing like my most consistent work, and that was like when I think I realized like, yeah, I think I'm really getting into this.
Interesting. I had never, as I had never even heard of that YouTube channel in particular.
Yeah, they don't. I don't think he does the same stuff anymore. I think he's still doing voice acting, but I don't think it's necessarily Fire Emblem centric anymore.
Right, right. Well, like with every channel, they evolve and rebrand from time to
Hmm.
time. Starting with learning the craft. When you first started working behind the microphone, what were some of the biggest lessons you had learned about the craft?
So I learned that you need an actual. You need to not have as much echo as you should. So when I first started, my recording space was in the laundry room
Mm-hmm.
in because I lived in like the quote unquote basement, like first floor of like a townhouse at the time when I really started. So, and I didn't have like a closet, or at least I hadn't considered a closet space. And so what I did was I just took the laundry room, just hung up clothes as much as I could. And I had these wire, like, those wire racks that you can just like attach together and make shelving.
Yeah, I believe so.
I made like a partial cube out of those. I had some acoustic foam. I shoved it along the sides. And then I put my microphone, which at the time was a blue snowball, in there and just got to work. Uh, I never listened back to my audio at that time, so I couldn't tell you how probably bad it sounded.
Oh boy.
Yeah, like
There's
I
a.
didn't know like a lot about like the post editing specs, like noise reduction, like normalization. I didn't really understand any of that.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much, for the most part, just thought it was say words into a microphone, and then that's it. I had
Oh
no
yeah.
real technical skills. I had acting experience, like I had taken acting classes, I had done improv classes, so I had some acting experience, but it was a lot more on like the technical side of like your space, your technology. It's that took some time to fully get used to and learn.
Oh yeah, I can relate to that because I'm a music composer and musician. I I took music classes. I took acting classes. I did not know the technical side of it at all. Even with this series, I'm still working on the technical side of stuff.
Hmm.
Um, were there any? Did you? And have you, excuse me, I can't talk. It is Friday. Have you taken any voice acting classes with some notable names?
Yes, I have. I've taken three total voice acting classes and then one actually in-person commercial course. But my voice acting classes were done with Darren Dunstan, who's done a lot of Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh! He was one of the four kids legacy voice actors. Um, then there was Michael Sorich. It was just like one class. Darren Dunstan was like a couple week long course. I think it was like Darren Dunstan was three classes over the course of 3 weeks. Michael Sorich was one class. It was one night. Uh, I'm, Deb Monroe was my first ever long voiceover course through Closing Credits, which is the Casting Call Club's like educational stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then my most recent class was not necessarily voice acting, it was commercial acting, but it was done at Weiss Baron Ryan, which is a like commercial like a casting kind of quote unquote agency because they're not technically a casting agency, but they do a lot of casting work. But they also have classes there, and I found out that they weren't too far from me. And I was like, I need to learn the commercial side of acting, like
Mm-hmm.
voice and on camera, because why not? And so I did that as well with Stephanie Ryan Manham.
Interesting. That's awesome. Okay, so we're gonna go on to our next segment, building I guess quote unquote building characters. Um when you approach a new role, what is your process for discovering a character's voice and personality?
So if I'm going into an audition, like I have the size and everything in front of me, if the character has art, which usually it does, like, and they have like an age description, personality description, voice description, especially. I like to try out a couple of different voices before I actually record, see what A sounds natural, B isn't going to strain me, and see what I can carry without dropping it if I'm doing it for a long amount of time. Because if you're gonna like record and then you're gonna get cast for a character, you need to be able to like be able to use that voice again. Which this has happened to me. There were times where I've gotten cast for a character and forgotten the voice, so I had to go back and listen to the audition
Hmm.
and then kind of sometimes figure it out again. Sometimes I get it right off the bat. Sometimes I have a little bit of trouble. But for the most part, that's what I try to do in building a character. And I see like, oh, they have like this kind of personality. So maybe I'm going to add a little bit of gruff to them. Maybe I'm going to make them a little bit whispery if they're like shy, or like use my throat voice as accustomed to my head voice or vice versa. A lot of it depends on personality traits, age, and even like appearance. If they don't give a voice description, even just appearance can help a lot too. Because the way someone dresses, like the way they style their hair, the way they wear their makeup, it can say a lot about a person, even if you don't know them.
That's interesting. It's like, and even if they don't have like you said, I think like you've said this, like if even if there isn't like artwork, there's also the theater of the mind, especially with a D&D character, for example. Like if there's no artwork, there's always description.
Yes.
Now voice acting not just requires like getting a visual of the character you're playing in your head. It often requires conveying powerful emotions using only your voice. So, how do you prepare for scenes that require a lot of emotional intensity?
So a lot of the times I can kind of get them right off the bat, but like for something that I've been working on, like obviously can't really talk about it, but I've been having to do a lot of fighting like efforts. So like out of breath, anger. This is a very angry character who has a lot of issues, trauma. A lot of times I've had to be out of breath, yelling, and something that my director has said to me, she's done a few like jumping jacks in the booth, do a few deep inhales and exhales rapidly just to kind of get that out of breathiness. And even in my commercial class, we've been told like to do jumping jacks if we need it to either get the energy up or get a kind of more breathy energy, like out of breath, if that's what we're going for. So a lot of times it can be like physical moving around or just even talking to yourself. There's a thing called cold read where you don't record anything yet, you just go over it. And that's when a lot of the deliberations on how you can do stuff takes place. So I've also watched videos that have made me cry if I need to cry,
Mm-hmm.
or just like think about sad stuff. If I need to be angry, I'll just think about stuff that's making me angry at that particular moment in the day, because there's a lot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I rely a lot on the stuff around me to help bring deep emotion to whenever I need it.
Yeah, definitely. And it also works with film as well, because I also do film. Depending on what character someone is playing, you have to really get into the mindset of this character as if, oh, you're in the shoes of this character, thinking about what makes you sad or what makes you angry. I played an angry character, and I had to think, what makes me angry the most? Oh, when people tell me that vaccines cause autism, that is one of the things that makes me so
Yep,
angry because I am autistic. I was like,
me too.
hey, all right. Physicality of voice acting. You briefly touched on this. So but do you find yourself using gestures, posture, or movement while recording a character?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I have a quirk. So sometimes when I'm recording, I don't know why I'll do this, but I'll close one eye. Just I don't know why I do this. I'll just start talking. I'll just start winking. I don't know why I do that. I don't know how that started, but it's just become a thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times I will be moving my hands around. I'll be sometimes occasionally moving my head around, which you can't really do if you're trying to get good mic sound because you don't want to be moving your head too much because you got to stay close to the mic.
Yep.
Um, Depending on like if I'm sitting or standing, I might be moving my feet a little bit, but I definitely the eye thing, definitely, and a lot of hand stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for me, hand movements a very habitual thing for me because I'll do a lot of this, a, like a lot of the time. Now, collaboration. Now, voice acting is often a collaborative process with writers, directors, um, and sometimes fellow performers. How does that collaboration influence the way a character ultimately comes to life?
So, not it's not always that an actor has as much influence on the character. It can happen a lot, but that's not always the case. But like a lot of times your director will say, "Okay, this is the character. They're like this." If they have a voice in mind, they will work with you on it. But a lot of directors, at least ones that I've worked with, have always liked my input. Like, let's say we do a line read, we do it one way, we do another way. I'd like to suggest, hey, can I try it this way if there's another thing in mind? So, one thing that I will always say, that actually I will start saying, because I haven't talked about this much whenever someone asks me, like, oh, Hannah, give me advice. Like, got it. Um, speak your mind to your director. If you are in a place where you can offer creative input, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's like just how you do the voice, like even if you want to twinge it just a little bit, let them know because that'll open up so many doors to saying, okay, I like this. Maybe we can also change this a little bit. Because you don't want to completely change a character, if especially if there's a lot of stuff already set in stone, but you want to get it to a nice middle ground that's going to be both good for you and good for the team.
Interesting. Was there like one moment you can talk about where it kind of like stood out to you? Like whether it's in a comical way
So,
or in a positive way.
so I can't talk about what the project is,
Right.
but there is a game I'm working on,
Mhm.
and this was what I mainly was referencing when I say I give my own input on reads. My director will give me an A and a B. We'll go over that, and if I'm thinking I want to try it this way, I say, hey, can I do a read like this? And there have been times where my read has been the preferred one. They'll say, okay, yeah, we will go with that one. But there have also been times where I say, that's not really what we're looking for, but like we get what we're doing. We're gonna go with the other ones. So it can be very hit or miss, but it's very interesting because I am very much a follower, and sometimes I'm scared of doing input. That's just me as a person. But when I get the chance to, I really like to be able to offer my input, see how something else can be done.
Good. Yes, I like that. All right, we're gonna move on to the next segment, which is one of the projects that you are mostly known for, and that's actually one. This is actually one that I've searched for after watching Wild Trace, and that is Heretical Tavern.
Yes.
So, uh, so how did you first become involved with the project?
So this was around, I can't remember if it was 2022 or 2023. It was quite a while ago. But I was just looking through Casting Call Club and they had a casting call on there for their characters. They had like a channel established previously, but it was mainly just a few people and it wasn't really like this whole world that they've now built. But I auditioned for the Bard, the Fighter, which is who I booked, and I think one or two other characters at least. Um, and after some time, the casting got done, and I was cast as the fighter. And I've been with them ever since. I play specifically, her name is Neles. She is a Triton, which if you don't know D&D, they are like fish people. She's a fighter, so she uses a lot of hand-to-hand combat, weapons. She is short only because I told my director, Lucas, a very good friend of mine, he's also helped me, he's also directing a lot of other stuff I'm in. Um, he made her short because I'm short, just because. Um, she's aggressively Scottish. She has trauma because what's a D&D character without a little bit of trauma?
Exactly.
Uh, she's got a temper, but she can also be very sweet. She's very kind. She has a history of fighting in war. Now that the war is kind of settled down, she just it there's a lot of weight on her shoulders that I feel like over time she's been able to let go now that she's kind of got this crazy little warrior found family around her now. And this project itself, like the art is great, the script writing is really well done, and there's always new characters and scenarios. I'm recording for them at least once a month, typically.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love it. I've gotten to improve my own accent because, like I said, she's if I didn't say this before, she's Scottish, and even I've had another. I took an acting class in college, and even my acting teacher helped me to find a site. I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but you can listen to a bunch of different accents and dialects there, and he helped me hone that accent. And even Lucas noticed, wow, your accent's gotten really good. So it's being able to hone accents, this character who's angry, who has a lot of different emotions, like angry, happy, but all in an accent, which was definitely harder for me to convey when I started acting. But now I get to do this every now and then. It's just like, okay, I feel good about this. I love this. I love this character, and I'm excited to see where it goes because this project has a lot of promise, and it's just been. I'm glad to have been a part of it for so many years.
That's awesome. So when it comes to developing the fighter as a character, and I think you kind of touched on this briefly, but I want to hear you elaborate a little bit more on this. What elements help you shape the voice and personality of the fighter? Was there like a description of a specific type of voice, or was the voice just your own interpretation of the fighter?
So I'd have to go. I wonder if I can actually find the casting call. Let me see if I can actually find it. But from what I remember, I think it had listed the fighter as Scottish,
Okay.
like in accent, because a lot of times like they'll have to list accents for like your character. I'm gonna see if I can actually find it. It'd be really cool if I can. Yes, here it is. Okay. Let's see. Yep, 2021 actually, not even
Wow.
2022, 2021. Oh my God. So I'll read this to you because it's actually great.
Yep, go for it.
The fighter is basically a crackhead chihuahua that will happily fight God on 2 hours of sleep with nothing but an Oreo and suicidal thoughts to power them. Cookie for you for getting the reference. The character itself is a short, 5 foot human fighter, so this was at the time they were human. Racial change to tiefling possible depending on what token looks best for the voice, which is actually we didn't even go tiefling, we ended up Triton or yeah, Triton. Uh For this role, we need pure, unadulterated energy. Now, of course, don't blow your voice out screaming. Just imagine more of a frat boy eager to bust heads. It's 80% tone, 20% energy. For the Scottish accent, we want to barely understand you. Of course, that doesn't mean we want to not understand you at all. I'm just saying go ham on the accent and have fun with it. And then there was actually a note that says you can do any accent. We just prefer Scottish or a Cockney British accent. So if you're not confident in your Scottish, then hit us with any accent.
Interesting. I
Yep,
think
and there was no character art at the time for these. This was all just like
oh,
the default casting call club like character thing. Yeah, I think I might have auditioned for all of them. It's the fighter, the bard, and the paladin. Yeah, I
okay.
auditioned for all of them, and I got fighter.
Nice. I think one of the scenes that like stood out to me, because I saw this clip on TikTok. Um, it was way towards the end, with the artificer and whatever other character was interacting. At the end, it was like pineapple can go on pizza. It was like that was the one that stood out, and our artificer's like, no, it can't.
I disagree.
I am a pineapple on pizza person.
Oh, I am too. I love pineapple on pizza.
Hey! And so is Keston, because I watched the one episode of Wild Trace where he was, I think he was, I think he was at a con at the time. Oh boy. Okay. So, the tone and style of Heretical Tavern. So it blends humor, storytelling, and the spirit of tabletop role playing. So how does performing in that kind of environment differ from other voiceover work you've done?
Um, that's a good question. So it's the usual that I do all of my recording on my own. We get the option to do a live session if we want to, but it's really not that much different from my other work. It's usually like I will record, I will do a couple of takes, do some
Mm-hmm.
cold reads beforehand, especially if it's like a long block of lines.
Mm-hmm.
But I will record, I'll send them in, say, hey, how's this? And occasionally I'll accidentally miss a line, like, 'cause it's just a lot to read. But they'll say, okay, we'd like this, and you're like, okay, we want to try this, do it in this direction. But it's really not that much different than what I usually do, I'd say.
Okay. Were there any scenes or recorded moments in the series that stood out to you while bringing the fighter to life?
So we recorded her backstory, and this was probably one of the most emotional moments I've had as her.
Mm-hmm.
She was mourning over the death of her I believe it was her captain, when she was like in like the military army, like fighting in the war. She was at his grave and just breaking down. She was just having a full breakdown, crying, sobbing, just super upset.
Mm-hmm.
And I said performing with an accent was super hard, like when I'd started, but I'd gotten so much feedback that it kind of just flowed, and I felt really good about it. Because I've been seeing this character again as a crackhead chihuahua, so getting to see and tap into this more emotional side of her was really special because I'd been with her for so many years before that too.
Wow. I like that. Were there any comical moments?
I mean, there's a lot because this series is really funny.
I
Great
bet.
writing. Ah, off the top of my head, I think so. Sometimes they do post blooper videos of our reads. And there are just some times where I can't get a line right and I'm doing it over and over again, which this happens a few times, which is just funny to me. Because like on one moment I'm Scottish, then I'm back to English like so a lot of that's just really funny. I can't pinpoint a moment though, I don't think.
Yeah, maintaining reading a line and maintaining an accent, it can be very difficult, especially if one doesn't know what they're doing, or if they haven't had any like training on it. A lot of funny things will come out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, stories inspired by tabletop games often have a strong sense of collaboration and improvisation. What do you enjoy most about working within that kind of storytelling space?
So we occasionally have there is a consistent storyline, but a lot of the time it is like skits and different things. And even the skits sometimes have like a continuity to them. So it kind of is like a big D&D session that's just been going on for years. I think we've talked about trying to have an actual campaign or at least a one shot with our characters at some point. I'd have to check in with that and see how that's going, if we're planning to do it at some point or not. Um, but it is very much kind of like just waiting until the next session. When am I gonna get to do this again? That was a lot of the time with Wild Trace too, because it wasn't always
Yeah,
consistent on when we'd be doing it. Sometimes we'd have to wait a while because someone just wasn't available.
yeah,
But then for me, it's just like, all right, when's the next script ready? So like, when's the next session? When's the next script gonna be ready?
yeah,
When am I gonna get to play next?
absolutely. So let's move on to the next segment, the industry and the craft. So the voice acting landscape has expanded quite a bit in recent years, especially with online productions excuse me, indie projects and creator-driven storytelling. What excites you the most about where the industry is headed?
So there's been a lot of, especially since 2020, remote work because COVID kind of shut everything down.
Yeah.
But that opened up a lot of opportunities for remote work, people recording from home and like making their own setup. And that's become a lot more normalized since then. Like, obviously, there are still studios that will want you to actually go to them and record. But with this rise in remote voice acting, it's given a lot more opportunities to people who may not live near a recording, like a big recording studio like Crunchyroll or like Bang Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Like I live in New Jersey, so if I had to go to like let's say like Bang Zoom or Atlas, I'd have to probably go up to New York, and that's quite a drive away, which I wouldn't mind it. I don't mind going up there. I like New York. I've been there a few times. But if I'm able to record from home on a schedule that works with me, that is lovely. And there are some people who they can't really leave home. Maybe they don't have like transportation. Maybe they can't
Mm-hmm.
drive for one reason or another. Maybe they have a health issue and they can't really leave the house. Like there are voice actors who have all different kinds of issues, or maybe they can't travel too far. They can't afford to travel out there because studios won't really compensate you for flying out there, at least as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really happy to see that remote recording has been there have been like there are some studios, like I said, they want you to be in. They don't really like remote, sometimes because maybe you just don't have the right equipment or the audio isn't as good as they want it to be, which that can absolutely be the case, and they'll want you to come in. But this rise in remote is just incredible because it fixes an accessibility issue that some people have, and it helps with your schedule if you need to be home for whatever reason, and they can work with you. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Accessibility is honestly, it's the best thing that we need right now.
Yes, absolutely.
So, for people who are interested in getting into voice acting today, what is one piece of advice you wish someone had given you early on?
Don't worry so much about your range. Focus on the acting part first. When I say this to people a lot too. And it's kind of vice versa with this one. You can have the craziest range known to man, but if you can't carry a character, then what's the point? And then there's um like act if you can act your head off, great. If you don't have that much of a range, doesn't matter. You just have to be able to act. You don't
Yes.
have to be able like if your voice can't go to crazy highs and crazy lows, that's okay. Just as long as you can act and carry a convincing character, you are off to the races. So don't worry about being perfect at every accent when you get started because you got to learn those if you want to. Don't worry about like, oh, but I can't go high if I want to. I don't like how it sounds. That's fine. You don't have to have a crazy impressive range. Just know what you're doing. Work on the range later. Heck, there are coaches that can help you with range. There are classes that will help you with range. Listen to like practice on your own time. Just do what makes you feel comfortable. Slowly go higher or slowly go lower until you feel comfortable with it. Work on it, but don't worry about it when you're starting. It's not a big deal.
Well said. When you are juggling multiple projects or roles, how do you maintain your vocal health and creative energy?
A lot of tea, just a lot of tea, water.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't record for more than I'd say 2 or 3 hours. If I have a lot of projects, I see what's due when and focus on those first. If it's something that requires a lot of vocal strain, like if I'm yelling, if I'm doing like a more gritty voice, I see what I can get done that doesn't require that out of the way. And if I'm still feeling okay, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this and get it done with. Or sometimes if it's a gritty voice that, or if it's a lot of yelling, a lot of emotion, I do that, just that one thing, one night, and then I wrap up for the night. Because I don't want to scream and cry and then go on to say, okay, I feel great. Let's record more auditions. Because that's not going to be good for me. They're going to hear it, and that's not going to probably be what they're looking for. You want to balance your time and then balance your vocal health because if you start straining your voice just because you want to do so much work, you're not going to be able to use your voice that much at all.
Oh yeah, and there can be a lot of vocal damage that'll like really haunt you down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go into creative perspective. So voice acting allows audiences to imagine entire worlds through sound alone. But from your perspective, what makes voice acting such a powerful storytelling medium?
So with voice acting, it's not that much different from regular acting, except you're not on a camera.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have physical movements to show people what's being expressed. You have only your voice. Like you can do certain, like with limitations, some physical movements in the booth. You can't go like stomping your feet. You can't go moving around too much. Like if you have like jangly jewelry, you got to take it off because they don't want to hear that. But it's just your voice they're hearing. It's not like you're watching like a cartoon and then there's a camera on you while recording and that's just sitting in the corner of the episode and they're watching you work. You have to be able to convey act like not even just emotion, you have to convey action as well, like with efforts, with like deep breaths like wheezing or breathness like but you can't be like on your knees, like freaking out, physically moving in the booth. So you have
Yeah.
to rely a lot on just your voice. And again, physical movements can help. Like I've been asked to do some physical movements, little ones, while recording, but that's not always going to be something that's allowed. So you have to be able to hone a physical action as if you're doing it through your voice. And I think that's incredible how some people are just able to pull that off. Like if it's just voice acting alone, being able to pull off like a crazy scream, like you're getting like crushed and you're not moving is insane.
Oh yeah, absolutely. How has voice acting shaped you both as a performer and as a person?
So I am not the best social butterfly. I have very on and off wavering social anxiety. Like sometimes I'll be super comfortable around people. Other times I'm just like, I'll just kind of sit over here. Um, it's helped me meet a lot of new people. It's helped me like look towards different kinds of projects and find like animators or game developers who are working on all these cool new things that I didn't even know about. And it has me thinking of like my own concepts for stuff that I probably won't ever make unless. But it's helped me see into this world of with creativity that there's so many people making so many different things and they have similar struggles to me, like maybe it's just time, energy, like we're all going through creative dips and ebbs and flows even if they're a little different on what we're doing, but it's helped me also just become more expressive as a person because I used to just like to talk, have a conversation and get it over with.
Mm-hmm.
But now I've found myself like cracking a lot more jokes with people, like doing a lot more silly stuff and being more out as a person. Like I was very introverted when I started, now I'm more of like an omnivert, I'd say.
Interesting. 'Cause I'm kind of the same way. I have a little bit of social anxiety as well. Also, I'm part of being autistic, where
Hmm.
I'm extremely introverted. But the more I grow and the more I'm around people, even with even not even just performing, just like working in general, it's really it's really helped me personally become more confident, and I think it should definitely help other people become more confident too, like confident in their own skin and their own voice as well.
Hmm.
So looking ahead, are there any projects, roles, or goals you're excited about pursuing in the future?
So for right now, I'm working on a handful of games that again can't say much about, but
Mm-hmm.
these ones are so interesting because in all these games I'm working on, I'm playing these very, very different characters. Like I said, one's very angry and emotional. Then there's one that's more shy and sweet. And they are very, very different on the spectrum. Um, there's an animation that's getting worked on. I think it's in probably storyboarding stages, I think, right around now. That's really cute. Uh, and then for the future, I I did have the opportunity to audition for a little like web series, like actual anime, like made in Japan style anime. I didn't book it, but that was still something I was amazed to even get the opportunity to do. So I'm hoping to book an agent or like join an agency because I've been trying to work on that and there's still some stuff I'm missing, like commercial reel especially. Glove and look for that. But I'm looking forward to be able to actually do like another anime audition someday or be asked to come into a studio because I've done all my work remote. I've never been able to or asked to go into a studio and record, and that's a really big goal for me. I'd love to do that. I'd love to be like to have face-to-face direction with another person in real life. Like they're out there, I'm in here. I want that experience so badly, but I know it's going to take time. Uh, I'd love to work on more indie animations. I'd love to do more games. I want to do at least one horror game where I scare the hell out of a YouTuber enough and make them like break their setup just a little bit. Like I need that. I need that at least once.
Absolutely. So before I wrap things up, I like to do lightning rounds because of questions, because this is the fun type. These are the fun types of interviews. Like, yeah, there's a professional aspect, but we gotta make it fun. So, with these questions, just answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Favorite character archetype you like to voice?
Quirky best friend.
Quirky best friend. Fun. A role type you'd love to play someday.
Just really evil and fucked up. I haven't had the chance to do that yet, and I really want that.
Awesome. Favorite fantasy creature?
Ah, God, there's so many. Why would you ask me that? I like the squonk.
what is that? I actually don't know.
That is a cryptid from Pennsylvania that is it thinks that it's so ugly that it cries over how ugly it is.
Oh.
But he's adorable. He's just a little wrinkly. It's okay.
I'm gonna have to look
I
that
think
up
he's
later.
adorable, but he cries because he thinks he's so ugly.
Oh. Um, it's not on my list, but I will ask it anyway. Favorite D&D class?
Oh God, probably barter druid.
Bard sounds like a certain Triton bard I know. Favorite D&D race actually.
Oh God, there's probably so many new ones I haven't seen. Like I want to say Triton because obviously like, it's got like that mermaid thing going on.
Mhm.
I don't know. They're all cool. They all have their own unique things. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
So I don't. Honest answer, I don't know.
Coffee, tea, or a potion of choice?
T
Tea? What kind of
T.
tea?
Um, really, most kinds actually. Like especially like more fruit-based blends.
Ooh. Have you tried Turkish tea?
I don't think I have.
Oh
I
my,
don't think I've ever heard of that either.
it's got some nice fruity notes. I had that one time I was making a one of those like mosaic like lamps in like an art class. One word
Okay.
that describes voice acting for you.
Oh God, I don't like these one-word answers. How dare you? Um, fun. That's all I can think of right now.
But that's fair. That's totally fair. A future D&D class you would love to play.
Artificer.
Ooh. I know it's light round, but can you explain why?
I haven't had the chance to do that yet, and it's not one that I've really thought about playing. So I think I'd love to give that a shot and just see how it goes.
Awesome. All right. Before we conclude, I would like to ask one final question.
Yeah, of course.
If listeners take away one thing about your voice acting or storytelling from this conversation, what would you hope it is?
Don't be afraid to ask for help. You can have an amazing idea, like if you're in session, and just if you need help, if you feel like you're not doing what you want for a character, just tell your director, tell the character designer, tell them you need help. Because if you don't, the story might not come out in a way that'll make you happy, make the director happy. Like maybe the director will be happy with it, but then you'll look back on it and said, I should have done something. I should have said something, and you won't feel as good about it. So ask for help when you need it. Don't be afraid to suggest your own thing if you think it'll help you out or it'll help out the director. Just speak up and ask for help when you need it.
Well said. Well, Hannah, thank you again for taking the time to join me today and for sharing your experiences and insights.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. This was lovely.
This was amazing. Before we end, where can people find you and your work?
So you can find me on a nice majority of social media. I'm on Twitter at Hannah_Chapin. I'm on Blue Sky as Hannah Chapin VA. YouTube and Instagram and Tumblr as Hannah Does VO. I don't post a lot of my work to YouTube. It's usually going to be on social media, but my demo reels are on YouTube. I also do a lot of art. I have some online shops that have an Etsy. I have a Redbubble. I have an ACG Goods. ACG Goods is basically they handle all the making. I just put the designs up, which is a godsend. It's like Redbubble, but with more variety. That's Hannah's Hovel. Uh, then there Hannah Chapin Designs is my Redbubble and Etsy. I have made DBZ pins. I've made a Monkey Kid necklace, like a friendship necklace that's like magnetic. So those are for sale. Um, and yeah, that's really about it.
Cool. You're going to have to send me those links so that I can put them in the description.
Absolutely, of course.
And to everyone listening or watching, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Voices and Visions. If you like this, be sure to like, subscribe, and tell me to do more of these or who you would like on the show. So until then, I'm JL Graves. Keep creating, keep exploring, and keep bringing your visions to life. Bye-bye.
Bye.